caught my girlfriend cheating with her best friend's groom on the wedding day, so I ended the relationship, told the bride, and now I want revenge. So, I'm a 28-year-old guy, and I met my girlfriend, who's 26, at this bar where they were hosting a trivia night. I didn't have a team, so I ended up joining hers. I was totally blown away by how much stuff she knew. I'm kind of a trivia buff myself, so seeing her crush, it was really what hooked me. We got to talking that night and eventually started dating. Right now, I'm working on my master's degree. My girlfriend, on the other hand, used to be a teacher, but decided to leave her job to focus on building an online presence. She's aiming to become a sort of trivia influencer, which I think is super cool. I totally support her because we definitely need more folks like her, especially more women, in that space. Anyway, back in high school, she had this best friend we'll call May. May had a high school sweetheart named Tom. Their relationship seemed like something out of a movie. They stayed together even when they went to colleges on opposite sides of the country and eventually settled down near each other. A few months ago, my girlfriend excitedly told me that Tom had proposed to May and they were planning to get married. I had met Tom and May a few times, and I have to say, they're awesome people. I was genuinely happy for them. I've always been a sucker for those kinds of love stories, where people meet young and stay together. It just seems so special to know someone that deeply for so long. But I also know that just because you're high school sweethearts doesn't mean the relationship will be perfect. When their wedding day finally came around, of course, we were there. The wedding was nothing short of amazing, and May looked absolutely stunning. It was kind of a rowdy event because a lot of May's extended family are RT of a motorcycle club. They were a bit intimidating at first, but they turned out to be pretty chill once you got talking to them. I wasn't as emotionally invested as my girlfriend since I hadn't known Tom and May for as long as she had, but the whole event still moved me. It was clear how much they loved each other. However, things started to get weird when I was making small talk with another guest who went to the same high school as the couple. I looked around and saw my girlfriend in a pretty intense conversation with Tom, which struck me as odd. May was off chatting with her friends, but Tom and my girlfriend looked seriously engrossed in whatever they were talking about. Later that night, when we got back to our hotel room, I couldn't help but ask my girlfriend what that serious conversation was all about. She brushed it off, saying it was nothing, but that just made me more suspicious. Eventually, she told me that Tom was having cold feet, and she was helping him calm down. It was a plausible explanation, but something about it didn't sit right with me. Why wasn't one of the groomsmen giving him that pep talk, and why did it seem like they were arguing more than anything? As the days went on, I noticed she was frequently on her phone, messaging someone and getting all serious. My curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to check her phone while she was asleep. I know, not the most trustful move, but I had done it before when I had doubts, and it usually reassured me. When I went through her messages, I saw she had been chatting a lot with Tom, especially on the wedding day. One message from her read, "Can I come around?" And he responded with an eyes emoji and said, "Yes." This was around the same time she told me she was going to hang out with the girls while they got their makeup done. So, there I was, right? I quickly exited the app and went straight to her chats with me. That's when I saw her asking where my girlfriend was. It took her a minute to respond, but when she did, she said she was on her way. Honestly, I was scared to go back to the messages with Tom, but I did anyway. Trying to piece together their conversation from that evening was like solving a jigsaw puzzle, but eventually, I managed to figure it all out. My girlfriend had said to Tom, "As long as you're not going to be the type to try and come clean, then we'll both be fine." Tom responded with, "Trust me, I'm not. I have a hell of a lot more to lose in this right now than you do." They kept talking, with my girlfriend mentioning, "This is the worst possible timing." And Tom replied, "It was the only possible timing, especially since we waited this long in the first place." She argued back, "We didn't wait for anything, you came to my room, and being on the brink of getting married, there was something tempting about you being real. It was taboo, and that was the appeal. I know I messed up, but you liked it," followed by a smile emoji. Tom shot back, "That's not the point. You can like something and still know you shouldn't have done it. You sound like you have a conscience now, but you didn't seem to have one when I was naked in front of you." She admitted, "I messed up, yes. I liked it, yes. This will never happen again. I've crossed a boundary in my life where this kind of stuff is now unacceptable. And no, I'm not stupid enough to try and tell May. At least indulge me and tell me what you like the most." Tom responded with details about their encounter, describing what he liked most about her body and the things she did. I didn't realize how my hands were shaking with rage until I could barely read the screen anymore. Somehow, amidst all that fury, I managed to take screenshots of the incriminating chats on my phone and got out of the hotel room. I remember wandering around aimlessly that night, trying to make sense of my thoughts, but everything was just a chaotic mess. The emotional pain was so intense. It physically hurt. All I wanted was to curl up into a ball. However, amidst all that pain, there was a strange sense of relief. I realized I was dating a cheater and now had the chance to end things before marriage and potential divorce. Tom and May had just gotten married, and I couldn't imagine my girlfriend and his wedding being more than 2 years away. I could have ended up married to a cheater without knowing a thing about it. Here's where I need help. I know I want to break up with her, but I'm stuck on whether I should tell May about what I know. It feels like the morally right thing to do, but some people prefer blissful ignorance if the alternative is a truth that will hurt them deeply. I don't know what kind of person May is. Should I just break up with my girlfriend, explain why, and leave Tom out of it? Or confront Tom and let him know that I know? Honestly, I'm confused. I've been dating this girl for 4 years, and I'm so hurt. I need to get back at her without doing anything illegal, though many illegal things have seemed tempting. Edit 1. A common suggestion I've received is that I shouldn't worry about how May handles the information. The argument is that I should do the right thing by telling her, and whether she hates me for it or not isn't my business. I think a large part of me agrees with that angle. I'm not trying to be a homewrecker, especially so early in their marriage, but it seems like the right thing to do. Edit 2. One commenter suggested that I should get with May as an equal form of revenge. I found that amusing, and I hope they were joking. Generally speaking, cheating back isn't my style. If you can't leave the relationship for some reason, cheating back might be an option. But there's really no good argument for staying with a cheater if you can leave. So, that's what I'll be doing. Update. Hey everyone, it's me and Im back with an update. It's only been about a month since my last post, but I'm really happy with how things have turned out. Honestly, I don't think they could have gone any better. Here's what happened. The first thing I did was break up with my girlfriend, now ex, thank goodness. When we got back home from the wedding trip, I told her I wanted to talk. I made sure we were both sitting down, and the first thing I said was, "I know that you slept with Tom." Her face turned white, and her eyes bulged. She started stuttering, probably trying to think of something to defend herself, but it was clear she had nothing. She didn't know how I found out, but there was no point in denying it. I told her I was going to spend an hour in the living room and that she had that hour to pack her things and arrange for someone to come pick her up. After that, I'd kick her out and call the police if necessary. Anything she left behind would get donated or thrown in the trash. Her time started right then. She just sat on the couch, tears streaming down her face but making no sound. She managed to croak out a weak, "Babe, I'm sorry," before starting to shake with sobs. Man, I just shook my head and chuckled. 5 minutes went by, and she was still there, sitting right in front of me. So, I gave her a little nudge, reminding her that her time was ticking away. That's when she finally got up to leave. When the hour was up, I let her know, and she reappeared, dragging 2 suitcases behind her. Her friend, who she had called to help, was hauling a 3rd suitcase. I figured she managed to pack everything that mattered to her, because honestly, I wasn't kidding when I said I'd donate or trash the rest of her stuff. I didn't want any of it lingering around my place. I didn't need any reminders of her in any shape or form. Eventually, I did get rid of everything, because I banned her from coming back once she walked out that door. That was the last time I saw her in person. There was this one time she did come back, knocking on my door, begging to talk, but I never opened it, and I didn't try again after that. I had broken up with her, and let me tell you, I was more than happy about it. But that wasn't the end of my plans. The next thing I did was call up May. If she lived closer, I would have preferred talking to her in person, so she would understand how serious I was. But I wasn't going to make that trip. When she picked up the call, I made sure Tom wasn't anywhere nearby, and tried to brace her for something really heavy. When she told me to just spit it out already, I laid it all out. I told her that my ex-girlfriend and her husband had slept together on the day of the wedding. I shared everything I knew, like how I thought it was a one-time thing, but I spared her the graphic details I had unfortunately read. On the other end of the line, May was silent for what felt like forever. I had to tell her that I wasn't sure if I did the right thing by telling her, or if she'd rather have not known. She just apologized and said she was very glad I told her. She would always want to know. She was pretty shocked that her friend of so many years would betray her like that. I felt really bad for her. As awful as it was for me, it was definitely worse for her. This was her high school love, who had just become her husband after all. Anyway, she said she'd handle it and thanked me. About a week later, I knew May had pulled the trigger because my ex called me. For some reason, I answered the phone to hear what she had to say. She was furious at me for ruining their marriage. She seemed to think she was in some altruistic mood, saying it was fine that I broke up with her, but I didn't need to ruin a new marriage. She told me I didn't even know them well enough to interfere. May had decided to end things immediately. I just laughed and hung up on her. It was so ridiculous to me that she was trying to take any moral high ground. Then I decided to take things up a notch and expose her on social media. Instead of doing it myself, I hired someone to help with the dirty work. I gave this guy the full story, including all the juicy conversations, and he got to work on her social media pages. Apparently, she couldn't post anything new without this guy popping up with one of his accounts. When she blocked one, he'd switch to another. It stirred up a lot of drama among her fans, until it got to the point where she had to disable comments on all her posts. About 2 weeks into this, she just stopped posting altogether, which was super weird because she used to post nearly 5 times a week. Honestly, that makes me happy. I know she might be trying to wait it out, but I'll be ready when she tries to make a comeback. The internet never forgets. Now, here's the kicker. When May told all her relatives that the marriage was over, they were obviously super curious about why things ended, and she made it crystal clear. May's quite the sweetheart, so a lot of her aunts, uncles, and cousins adore her. Some of those biker relatives of hers even decided to pay Tom a visit. According to May, they roughed him up a bit, but the best part for me is that they also went to my ex-girlfriend's place. I don't know how they got her address, but they did. They didn't hurt her, but they certainly scared the crap out of her. Last I heard, she left her sister's place and moved out of the state. I don't know if that's permanent, but it's hilarious to me that her cheating made her run like a fugitive. So, to sum it up, I broke up with her, made sure the cheating groom got caught by his wife, did my part in dismantling my ex's online career, kicked her out and trashed her stuff, got the affair partner beaten up just enough, and scared my ex into moving out of state. For me, that's as sweet as revenge gets. I honestly feel a lot better now. Being cheated on sucks, but turns out, revenge is the perfect medicine, especially when you do it right and make sure it hurts. So, thanks to everyone who helped me along the way. I'll definitely pay it forward to others who need assistance. Now, on to the next story. Story 2, the breakup after neglect. So, let's dive into my second story. I'm a 35-year-old woman, and my now ex-fiancé is a 43-year-old guy. He's self-employed but often works with other companies. Right now, he's wrapping up a project that's been going on for about 5 months. During this time, he met a woman he worked closely with on this project. I met her briefly, but she didn't really catch my attention. Anyway, about a month and a half ago, I decided to confront my fiancé because I had been feeling seriously neglected. Before I could even finish what I was saying, he broke down in tears, apologized, and admitted he had a crush on her. He told me they had a lot in common and spent a ton of time together. I forgave him, but now am completely repulsed by his touch. So, after much thought, I ended our 4-year relationship. So basically, she had this admiration for him that really flattered him. Because of his work commitments, we didn't get to spend much time together, and he started feeling pretty lonely. He began enjoying spending time with her, not in a romantic way, but just because he was lonely. Still, he felt super guilty and ashamed about it. He told me he'd work from home until his project was done, and he's been doing just that, trying to fix our relationship in the process. She texted him a few times wondering if he was coming back to the office, but he just said no. She tried chatting him up through text, but he didn't engage. Eventually, she texted saying she missed their office chats and asked if she did something wrong. He assured her that she hadn't, but mentioned that keeping things professional would be best going forward. He linked his phone to our iPad so I could see all her texts, trying to be transparent. He begged me. I talked to a couple of friends who convinced me to forgive him, pointing out that having a crush is normal. We've been together for 4 years, and I've never had a crush on anyone else, no matter how attractive they were. Even in my previous 10-year relationship, I didn't have a crush on anyone. Despite everything, I decided to give him another chance because, apparently, it's not normal for me not to have crushes. He was really grateful for the second chance and became even more romantic, attentive, kind, loving, and honest. He read a bunch of books on relationships and infidelity, trying to understand what went wrong. The problem is, I know all the right things to say and do, but none of it feels real. His touches and kisses disgust me, and in my head, I am coming up with sarcastic responses to everything he says. I don't say any of those mean things out loud, though. He repels me so much that I'm starting to feel attracted to other men, which only happens when I mentally withdraw from a relationship. I'm at a loss on how to overcome this. Have any of you experienced something similar? Update 1. Since I keep getting responses on this thread, I made another one to keep things brief. I ended the relationship because love isn't enough to overcome distrust. In my experience, once I'm mentally checked out, there's no turning back. Promises, effort, or guilt can't restore trust. You need to trust your partner deep down with your body, feelings, and life. One commenter, Dear Juice 1560, pointed out that I probably felt subconsciously unsafe, which made me check out of the relationship. They said it wasn't just an innocent crush, since both he and she were playing into it, and she even said she missed him. It was at least the beginning of an emotional affair. OP, thank you for putting it better than I could. As I mentioned in another comment, I could see myself marrying him and having a child with him, but then imagining him looking for another woman while I'm still postpartum is just too much. It's probably best to break up before marriage, and kids complicate things even more. Should I just hope he won't repeat this next time things get tough? If I hadn't confronted him, how far would it have gone? I love him, but I'm not sure this relationship is worth continuing since I don't trust him. I don't know how to move past this, and don't want to spend my life policing his every move, getting paranoid whenever he works late. I don't deserve that. Update 2. Yesterday afternoon, I finally mustered the courage to talk to him. I asked him to let me finish without interrupting. I calmly told him everything that had been on my mind since I found out, my distrust, disgust, and loss of respect for him. I made it clear that what he did was emotional cheating, and I wasn't convinced that's where it stopped. I appreciated his efforts to read all those self-improvement and relationship books, and I hoped he'd learn from this and become a better person. But it wasn't going to save our relationship. I was done. He begged for another chance, suggested couples therapy, and promised to attend individual therapy too. He said he loved me, admitted he messed up, and didn't deserve me, but was willing to spend his life making it up to me. I told him his words weren't enough and never would be again. While I was packing my things, he followed me around our apartment, crying and making promises. Before I left, he asked if I might reconsider in the future if he proved himself. I told him I didn't see that happening, wished him the best, but said it wouldn't be with me. I'm staying with a friend while I search for an apartment. He sent flowers to my office with an I love you card. I throw them away, but I don't want to cause a scene at work. So far, he's sent me 3 emails pouring his heart out or whatever. I haven't responded and don't plan to. I haven't blocked him either. He shattered my self-confidence and made me doubt myself. He might as well boost my ego now. I'm so angry, hurt, and depressed. I feel like I could burn down the whole world with my anger. I don't know how I'll ever trust someone again. My grandfather cheated on my grandmother. My father cheated on my mother. My uncles cheated on their wives. All of them had kids outside their marriages. My ex knew this and worked really hard to earn my trust, only to completely shatter it. I don't think I could survive going through something like this again. How do I cope? How do I get better?